for Bring Your Own Lunch. Personal stories about the business with my daddy, Dave T. Kenny.
All right, come on in, have a seat. Welcome. This is the Bring Your Own Lunch podcast at BringYourOwnLunch.com, the magic of iTunes, the majesty of Stitcher, and however you found your way to download this podcast, I thank you. As you heard at the top, my name is Dave T. Koenig. I'm an actor, writer, director, producer, comedian, all-around swell dude. I fed a giraffe over the weekend. And, of course, I'm the host of the podcast you're listening to right now. BYOL is the hashtag you can use if you want to jump on board, get in touch, join in the fun on social media. You can like us on Facebook.com/BringYourOwnLunch. Follow us on Twitter at BYOL Podcast. Follow us on Instagram at Bring Your Own Lunch. We're on LinkedIn and Spreaker and a couple of other places. But if you need a roadmap, you need to go back where you can find it all. You can always go to the website, the mothership, if you will, BringYourOwnLunch.com. You can send me a personal email, Dave at BringYourOwnLunch.com. Love hearing from people. Love hearing from anyone about anything. Because sometimes just hearing word about anything can be nice. I'll be honest. So send an email and I will reach back to you. It's one of those weeks where it's like, near misses and almost was and the kind of week that is a little bit frustrating. And I'll explain a little bit further because sometimes just explaining things out loud can be cathartic. And every once in a while, it's good to mix in a little bit of reality with what's going on. But first, let me tell you about the guest I have on this week. One of the real joys of this podcast is that I get to pretty much have whoever I want on here. And I usually try to keep it relevant to the entertainment business or the community of artists. And this week, it also includes somebody who I went to school with, Jen Mailer, rock and roll photographer. I'm going to call her rock and roll photographer because I think it just works. Because knowing her back in college, she had a rock and roll attitude, and she has found her way into the world of taking pictures of some of the best and most famous bands out there. And she's following her dream and enjoying her life as a photographer, not just of bands, which is how she got her start, but now she's moved her way into comedy and working with some of the biggest names in comedy today in various respects and is taking pictures of everybody along the way. And she's got a great catalog of stuff. We will talk about what got her into the business of taking pictures and what she's doing now and some of the challenges she faces as somebody who is trying to sell pictures in the digital age. And it's a fantastic conversation that we had. It was a lot of fun and somebody I hadn't seen since college, basically. She and I went to Hofstra University together. She was in a different track, but we took a couple of classes together, including a very memorable acting class that I consider one of my favorite that I took while I was at Hofstra. And she was in that. A bunch of friends that we shared together. We're all in that class together. It was a ton of fun, and I always thought she was really cool. And to catch up with her and hear all the crazy stuff she's doing is just a lot of fun. And it's also instructive for you as somebody who may be somewhere along the line in your career in the arts in some respect. Well, there's a lot you can learn from listening to how she approached her life and her career, and hopefully you'll take some notes and apply it to yourself. But it's a fun conversation, and I'm looking forward to bringing that to you. Like I said, a bit of frustration. It's the summer. Things tend to kind of take a little bit of a break. And these days, as an actor, and along with everybody else, and Jen as a photographer can speak to this as well, we're battling new challenges because the digital age has changed things so dramatically that things that we never even conceived of 20 years ago are having an effect on our careers now. So the opportunities to make a really good living are harder and harder. You still can. And I don't want anyone to think that they shouldn't try and that it's an impossibility or that I am in any way feeling negative about the overall prospects. But week to week, day to day, sometimes it can be super, super frustrating to be in this business because the opportunities are not as plentiful as they were back when I started, let's say 12 years ago, or how it was 20 years ago, or what have you. And that's the nature of the beast, and we all have to adjust and make things happen, but we're all human, and we're all subject to the various emotions that human beings are comprised of. And in this case, frustration can be a real big one. So you think you're there, you get a call back, and you're thinking, hey, this could work out, and it could be a nice payday and a fun job, and you find out you didn't get it. And then at the same time, someone else comes to you and says, hey, on the date that you were holding for that other thing, there might be something else that might be good. That's a good payday. And it comes up, and you find out you didn't get it. This is the life of an actor, and this is the business I chose. So no complaints about my situation, no complaints about my lot in life. I'm still a very lucky person when it comes down to it in many, many, many ways. But like I said, I'm human. And this week, I'm frustrated. But I got to feed a giraffe. And if you're following on Instagram, you know what I mean. So life balances out in its own special way. All right, before we get to the interview, I do have to thank Banooba, Banooba.net, Banooba.net. That's the band that provides the music at the beginning, middle, and end of the show. And if there's something to be grateful for, well, they are something to be grateful for. Absolutely. They are supporting us with their beautiful, beautiful art. And the least I can do is just ask you to go to their website, buy their music, download their music, go see them live because they are awesome live, and be part of the Banooba experience. And if you do have a chance to talk to them, just tell them Dave says thanks. And if you have a moment you want to support what we're doing here and enjoy the fact that this podcast brings you incredible artists every week and an awesome conversation that they provide to the show, well, you can support Bring Your Own Lunch in very simple ways. First of all, you can go to iTunes or Stitcher and rate and review and subscribe to the show. I've said it before, it's the best way to let the world know what we're doing. There are algorithms inside iTunes, and they count on things like ratings and reviews and input from you to tell them that we're doing a good job. And if you subscribe, it tells them even further that we are doing a good job. So they will tell other people in varied ways, like on the podcast list at iTunes or in the new and noteworthy. So how you get on those lists? Well, you have people supporting you. So go to iTunes or Stitcher and rate, review, subscribe. And also, hey, telling a friend, that's the best way you can help on a personal, direct, one-to-one level. So get out there. Hashtag BYOL. Tell your friends, tell your acquaintances, tell your coworkers, tell your enemies, tell strangers, tell people you're indifferent about, tell people you are somewhat ambivalent about, because those are really interesting relationships in life, and those are effective as far as I'm concerned. So tell everybody. Go tell them to listen to Bring Your Own Lunch. I would certainly appreciate it. All right, let's get into it with my old friend Jen Mailer, rock and roll photographer, fellow Hofstra graduate, Ken Kesey devotee, Billy Joel photographer. We'll find out. Here's Jen. Enjoy. This is gonna be an hour full of jokes. I can feel it already. We're just gonna joke.
I'm that asshole.
Yes. No, you are not. You are not. Just before we started, we said that. Or at least you said that you had a last memory, since we haven't seen each other in too many years. We're not going to say.
Thank you.
Better to keep that between us. But the fact of the matter is, it's been a long time. And
it has.
So we knew each other at Hofstra. And you're the first fellow Hofstra grad that I spent any amount of time with at Hofstra. Because technically Fred Berman and I both went to Hofstra, and you went to Hofstra at the same time also. But I never really encountered him more than once or twice at the school. So you and I actually spent time together at Hofstra.
Well, we had the acting class, right?
Yes, that was in fact one of my favorite classes ever.
That was a fun one. I remember, like I said, my last memory of you, wasn't it you? I'm hoping this was you, doing the Billy Joel Fisherman song.
So I did make an impression with that. that remains one of my best performances.
And yet, does he remember what I did?
Oh, man.
This is going to hurt.
Oh, no, because I came equipped with another memory, though.
Oh.
Yes, because you challenged me one day and asked me if I knew what the shortest single ever to reach number one was.
Yes.
Do you remember the answer?
I do, and I'm hoping I'm still right, although I think I've been challenged on it.
Oh, really?
I do, but I'm still pretty sure I'll take the Pepsi challenge that mine is correct.
Okay.
Because I believe it was number one on the Billboard charts. And it was the Box Tops.
Yes.
The Letter.
That's exactly it. And I remember that to this day. I don't know if it's still valid because I don't know if there's been a shorter song to reach number one, but I absolutely remember you challenging me on that. And that is my last memory of you.
Yes, the obnoxious know-it-all. My useless trivia.
See, that's not what I remember about you. You were just somebody who was very, you were a free spirit. I think that's what I remember. And looking at it now, a rock and roll lifestyle seems to fit my memory of you way better than a rock and roll lifestyle fits my own memory of myself. So the way things have transpired makes perfect sense to me, because you are now like elbow to elbow with rock stars, and it seems like right where you ought to have ended up, as far as it seems.
It's
to me.
a weird thing, because I was supposed to be a lawyer.
You were supposed to be a lawyer.
I was, that was my goal from when I was a very small child, and my whole family telling me that's what I should have been my whole life. And yet, I do believe you still remember our friend Linda Maroney.
Yes,
correct?
she's now up in Rochester,
right?
doing a lot of film stuff.
Yes, and it's funny because she was the one who said, Jen, actually it was more Mailer, as you know, known by the last name more than anything else.
Is that what? Oh,
Yes.
So that's interesting. That's an update.
And she was like, why don't you take this photo class with me for shits and giggles, extra credit? And I was like, oh, why not? And at that time, I had also just started interning at WDRE,
right,
at a radio station,
legendary radio station on Long Island.
And got to meet the Goo Goo Dolls back in the day when Johnny Resnick still had long hair.
Before he started looking like Martha Stewart.
Oh, I don't know why. My sister loves him too, and why put the botulism in your face? I don't know. But him and who else did I get to meet? Adam Ant was another one, and got to go to all these great shows. One of my favorite shows. Wait, did I get that with DRE? No, I think that I just went for fun. One of my favorite. Do you remember Roseland? I can't believe that's gone.
No, yeah, that's one of the few places I actually went to when I was a kid. My brother and I saw Blues Traveler there.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and it was great. I mean, it was like a typical New York City down and dirty music venue that's gone.
That's gone.
Kind of like a CBGB's and
well, that Wetlands too.
Wetlands,
Those
yeah.
were. And
you know what? I messed up. Yeah. I think I saw Blues Traveler at Wetlands.
I was about to say I saw them at Wetlands. That was more of a Wetlands band.
Yeah,
I have to say.
I think I saw. I actually think I saw Kids in the Hall at Roseland.
Oh no way! Oh, that would have been rad.
Because they had seating, like they had like the orchestra seating type
Wetlands
stuff, right?
Would have never had that.
No, that was just like open space.
Roseland didn't have seating. Only on the side stage it would have a couple of tables, and then upstairs in the VIP section it would have some.
No, so I didn't see it
unless you're
there.
talking about the Academy, which I bet you are.
Maybe, I don't know. See, this is
there are a lot
happens.
of venues that closed down that were awesome, and then it just got destroyed by Giuliani, who killed our city.
Oh boy! Yeah, there's some resentment there.
Cranky old New Yorker. Yeah.
Well, can we go back to the beginning, because the idea of you becoming a lawyer and then the transition, and I know it all pivots at Hofstra, but and one thing about friends in college is that I got to know people, but I don't know how intimately I got to know anybody, because there were so many people all the time. So where did you grow up?
I grew up in Newburgh, New York.
You grew up in Newburgh?
I did.
Yes. Very interesting.
Murder capital of New York.
The murder capital of New York. There's a whole HBO series about how, or is it just one-time deal?
There was that documentary that was just out on the Newburgh 4, which is a great documentary.
Right.
And we didn't even put that sound effect of the police car in there.
It's almost like we're doing an NPR interview with special effects in the background just for atmosphere. We added the
love those sweaty
siren.
balls.
Yes. Joke number 2. So you grew up in Newburgh, and there are different parts of Newburgh. For sure.
I was not my parents owned a deli in the city of Newburgh.
Oh.
And then I also worked in the pizzeria in the city of Newburgh. And then I grew up first part in New Windsor, second part in the town of Newburgh.
All right. So first you were more of a suburban small city. And
yes. Although Newburgh, I'd like to say, we tend to consider ourselves the 6th borough.
It kind of is. You have to go an hour and a half out of the way to get there.
Whenever I would bring friends of mine to Newburgh, they're like, oh, this kind of explains a lot.
Yeah.
Because you would ride down the Hudson and see all these beautiful mansions and gorgeous houses. Yeah. And then you literally drive over some railroad tracks and you are dodging bullets in Cracktown, USA.
It was the epitome of the other side of the tracks. Yes.
And
literal.
I mean, it's the home of Geraldine Ferrara.
Yes.
And Tawana Brawley.
So you have the ends of the spectrum as far as political strife goes.
Can't get much more.
No. So for you, you were in New Windsor, and how does that compare to
Oh, no, that was just the first 10 years of my life. So,
so those don't count. Let's forget those.
No. I was just close to upstate New York, which then used to house raves back in the day.
Oh, okay. So, but you weren't doing those at 10. So let's go.
No, I was doing speed metal roller skating nights.
At 10?
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
Speed metal?
Really? Megadeth and Metallica, man.
At the roller skating rink?
Yeah.
Oh, see, we had like Hot 97 songs at our skating rink.
That would be the disco night or different dance nights.
Stuff. Yeah.
But speed metal, yeah.
Is that when you got in? How early did you get into like heavier metal type music?
It's hard because I loved my dance stuff too. That was the one thing about where I grew up is that we had everything.
Yeah.
It wasn't just vanilla. I mean, we had it all. So I had my friends who we could go out dancing with back in Plattekill. They used to have this one section, and it'd be all these one-room shack houses that you would go to, the villas, La Villas. And 1 minute you'd be dancing merengue and salsa with somebody's uncle.
Oh, wow.
And then all of a sudden they would bring up these DJs from the city who would play the most killer house music.
Wow.
For an hour or two, and then it would go back and forth between the two.
So you might be there with someone's uncle, and I assume that's in a good way.
Yes.
You know, not like a...
No, it was in the family way.
Yeah, so I mean, was it a safe atmosphere? Because, you know, when we were growing up, you know, we grew up in a very prohibitive period. Not so much as the 50s, but we were in the Just Say No era, and people still like...
And that meant what? No.
They warned us about everything. We were warned about everything. And I, as a sheltered suburban kid, bought it all. But I believe that if you were... I believe that if you went to a dance out of town, you were going to come back dead. I mean, it's just guaranteed, like 100% guarantee that you were going to come back dead. So this was a safe atmosphere for you, these dance places. It was very
safe, but you have to... My parents also were city kids.
Oh, okay.
So my parents were... my father born in Brooklyn and then Queens and then ended up on Long Island. And my mom is a Sunnyside girl.
Ah.
And so we used to come in and visit my grandmother who still lived in Sunnyside, and my treat was to come in and my parents would take me into the city. We'd walk up and down 5th and Madison, look at all the store windows, go to Katz's Deli or all these other restaurants. So I knew from a very young age, this is where I was going to live.
Interesting. And it was never intimidating. It was never... Were you taught to... I mean, because we're right now in Alphabet City.
Yes.
Were you warned about Alphabet City? Because it was pretty rough at the time.
Well, yeah. See, what happened was I wanted to go to NYU, and my parents were like, no, you're 17. You're not living in the city.
Oh, okay.
So that's how I ended up at Hofstra.
Right.
Because I was like, okay, I'll be near my grandmother who was sick at the time, and I could be there and close to her. But one of my best friends went to Columbia University, so I would hop on the train, the LIRR in Hempstead. Not the safest place.
No,
I think Hempstead was more dangerous than any NYU campus. And I would ride the subway alone up to Herndale, Harlem, and then we would come back downtown to go to the jazz clubs in the West Village. Mondo Periso and all those. Yeah. So, and plus then we had Palladium, we had Limelight, Club USA. I missed that slide. You know, the Tunnel. So I was going out to all those clubs and going out dancing. I just didn't tell my parents about it.
Now, see, there you go. You were able to sneak it by them a little bit.
So, I mean, and I started...
How old were you going to, like, Limelight and
17.
And that was like the heyday of those places. So you really saw some stuff.
I did.
Just give me one. Just give me one thing that you saw that has made more of an impression on you than me lip syncing Billy Joel in college.
Well, there were. I'll never forget. There was one time I remember going and seeing my first tranny guy who I wanted his legs. He was in the ladies' room bathroom, and I was like, I would kill for those legs. He was wearing short leather hot pants and heels, and I was like, God, I will never look that good. And I was super jealous. And then I remember it was at Limelight. They also had, because I was promoting with the radio station.
Okay.
And there was this gigantic, like a purple velvet, is it a bed or something? And all I can remember was my friend going and sitting on it. I was like, no, get off there. I don't even want to know what that is festering and growing inside of it.
So honestly speaking, that's the oddest, most shocking thing you saw there?
I mean, stuff, I don't know. You saw everything.
See, that's what like I said, I grew up a sheltered Long Island kid. I heard stories.
My friend jokes and she's like, God, Mailer, she's like, nothing ever shocks you. I'm like, oh, no, not really. Well, I've seen,
what do you think you saw that would shock someone else?
I'll tell you, I'm going to tell you my favorite wetland story.
Okay,
one of
go.
my favorites. When I first started going there, and Wetlands had 2 different floors. So you had the upstairs, that was the main performance area where the bus was and everything. And then you went downstairs, which was the lounge area, which sometimes they would have smaller performances. And I'm forgetting who was playing upstairs, but it was me and 2 friends downstairs having a smoke. And everybody else was upstairs watching the show. And all of a sudden a bouncer came downstairs and he said, "Hey, is that a joint or is that a cigarette?" We're like, it's a joint.
Oh.
He's like, "Okay, good, because if it was a cigarette, you'd be in a lot of trouble right now." Because the logic behind that was people were really careless with their cigarettes and would just flick them and leave them lit and could set the whole place on fire while everybody was upstairs. But if you had a joint, you were going to take hold of that and make sure you put it out and saved it for later.
Well, yeah, because nobody wants to waste that money.
Exactly.
Right, but nowadays you buy a pack of cigarettes and it's like $800, so you wonder why people are flicking the butts on the sidewalk now. So you were in Newburgh, and that whole time you're thinking, I'm going to be a lawyer. Or did you vary that a little bit?
No, I mean, I knew that was the path my family wanted to go on, but I was...
You weren't thinking about it.
No, it was honestly what happened was I was doing my thing and I started working at the radio station and I really enjoyed working in music. And I was doing, I took the photography class with Linda.
So we're already jumping into Hofstra.
We are. Okay, I'm trying to... And what happened?
To cut to the chase.
I know. My senior year in college, I had done a trip cross country where I met some really amazing people. I mean, I got to meet Ken Kesey. I got to meet Tom Robbins, Lawrence Ferlinghetti.
So
I met Mike Judge, Richard Linklater. It was this program that I did at Hofstra. I know one of the few things that were kind of cool about it. It was the American Odyssey. I did the European Odyssey my sophomore year, where I traveled across Europe. And we met all these different politicians and studied the EU and the Maastricht Treaty and all that good stuff. And then the senior year, I did the American Odyssey. So we got to meet all these literary greats. It was amazing.
That is amazing.
And I took my camera with me, and I was super shy with my camera. I mean, I kick myself now when I think about it but that really taught me. That trip taught me you have an opportunity, you shoot the hell out of it. And it's also knowing your audience as well. Getting to meet Ken Kesey and Tom Robbins were 2 of the greatest moments in my life. And that's an exchange. Actually, there is a photo that I have actually right behind you on top of that thing of Ken Kesey. If you see that stack of papers.
Okay, well, it's just a stack of...
But there's a print of him that I got, and he was just super amazing and inspiring. And one of my friends had done that trip the 2 years before, and he said, "Listen, Kesey's gonna go and pull out this bus and say it's the original bus. It's not. The original further is sinking out in his swamplands in his backyard." And so when we got to his property in Eugene, everybody was going inside because Ken was showing us all this old video footage.
So you spent significant time.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was amazing. And I grabbed one other kid and I said, "Hey, you want to come see something really cool?" And, I followed the map my friend drew me. There were the wooden planks going over the swamplands and everything. And we found the original further bus. And I just went crazy with my camera. And we went back inside, had lunch, looked at the old film footage. And when we were leaving, I wanted a picture with Ken. And I was wearing this hat that said pervert on it. So we're posing for a picture, and all of a sudden he just grabs my hat and he's like, "Where were you? I didn't see you inside the whole time."
Uh-oh.
And I said, "Well, I was out back exploring." I said, "Can I ask you, do you ever go out there?" And he just gave me a hug, and he's like, "Darling, I'm out there all the time."
Wow.
It was amazing.
How did you first get interested in him and that whole scene? Because we were pretty young.
Honestly, that trip, while we were on it, I got exposed to a whole slew of new authors, and I just read them. And, it was funny because Tom Wolfe, we also met him.
Wow. And
the 2 of them had a little bit of a contentious relationship because he was more of the outsider, didn't partake in the trip and all of that. And I remember when we talked with Tom Wolfe, he was discussing the possibility of writing a new book about female astronauts to kind of follow up on the right stuff that he did.
Right.
So he's like, I'm trying to think of a new title for the book. Does anybody have any suggestions? And my classmates are throwing out these suggestions, and I was like, well, how about a book called The Better Stuff?
Ooh.
He didn't
go for it.
No.
See, I was going to say The Left Stuff, so we were at least
better.
I probably would have thrown that out there, and been just as successful, I suppose.
Yes. Anyway, that was the long way of saying that started to pique my interest in photography. So what happened was, after college, I had done 2 years in Florida.
Doing what?
I was down there visiting my parents. I had planned to move out to San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
And I stopped to visit them, and I went to a coffee shop one night because it was in the 90s, and I met a guy.
And that was the law.
Yes. And then I was down there for about a year and a half, and I was like, you know what? I'm ready to come back to New York. So when I did, Wetlands was one of my mainstays. I was a very big fan of their matinee shows, them and CB's. So we would do the hardcore matinee shows. And I befriended
Who would you see back then?
Token Entry was one. The Queers was another. 7 Seconds. Quicksand. We saw Gorilla Biscuits. Against All Authority. Sick of It All.
So you saw a lot of
I did.
real hardcore bands. Yeah.
Just picture me with piercings and crazy hair.
You had a lot of. See, you never had a lot of piercings. You maybe had one back when I remember. So
I had
you
a couple
really
that
went.
You couldn't see, but I had the one. Yes.
All right.
So yeah, that was my fun time. And what happened was, so I had befriended a lot of people who worked at Wetlands as well. I know if I showed up and smelled a lot of patchouli, I would just say, all right, I'm coming back later, because we would do late night at Vinyl and go dancing there.
Wow.
And then end up at Max Fish or Wohop, or Jaffa.
You did the city back when it was the city.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So.
Well, there used to be, what was the club? Was it Anarchy on St. Mark's and A? And I remember I dated a bouncer there, and he would walk me out to my car that was parked, right in front of the bar to make sure I didn't have any trouble from the people in the park.
Yeah.
Because it was sketch. I mean,
it
early.
Absolutely was.
You didn't go into the alphabets. You just stayed.
Right. And it's funny. And I mentioned that we're in Alphabet City now. And I've mentioned this on the podcast before, how different the city was then and how silly people sound now when they say, like, yeah, I live in the city. It's not so bad.
Oh,
if they only knew. If they only knew.
I miss it because I'm so tired. 7-Elevens have popped up like herpes here in the city, and it's just sad. And all the chain stores, and they're chasing out the mom and pops. I mean, that's the one thing that I love where I'm living now. It still feels a bit like a New York neighborhood.
It does. And you have people yelling on as I walk to your place, and just the old school. Someone might jump out at me, and something might happen, but that's what New York used to be like all the time. Yeah. It was exhausting, but it was a lot of electricity in the air.
But it also kept the people who belong in the suburbs in the suburbs. But anyway, I'll just cut off really quick to show how I got into shooting music. Wetlands was then closing down in September of 2001.
Is it that long ago?
Yes.
Wow.
I remember just saying to a friend, like, oh my God, I've been coming here for years. I've never taken any photos here. I want to shoot the last week of Wetlands. I was like, how do I do it? He said, well, buy this speed film, put your camera on this setting, and good luck.
Wow.
And that is how I started shooting music.
Who was he?
That was my friend Chris, who was another photographer.
So he knew his stuff.
He did.
Yeah.
And I was really just dabbling in music, and I've been going to live shows since, my first concert was Pete Seeger that my dad took me to. I grew up in the Hudson Valley.
That's a good one. Yeah, of course. So you have it in your blood, obviously far more than being a lawyer was. So that's why I say, like, you following this path, it just seems to match your personality so incredibly well. But I don't know. I had Brian Och on this show, who is a photographer who does a lot of celebrity work, and he's done tour photography for, like, Prince. And the stories there were phenomenal, and I want to dig into some of your stories, because I know you've worked with I mean, anybody you can think of in music, you pretty much have worked with. But it's like the lifestyle that I don't fully know.
It's hard now. It's funny because I'm transitioning my photography now, and I've been working more with comedians than with musicians.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
One of the big differences, I like to get paid.
Oh, yeah, well, that helps, yeah.
And I loved it. I mean, the time that I shot music, there was nothing that I didn't love more than going to see shows. I absolutely loved it. And also when I started, it was a very different environment and feel.
Well, describe it. What was it like back then?
When I used to shoot in the pit, I'd be one of the only females. There might be one other. And it took me a good 2 years to earn the respect of the men that I was shooting alongside and to prove I wasn't just some groupie who wanted to be in there. Like, I was a legit photographer.
And is that something that exists, or is that something that is presumed because you're a woman? Was it fair of them to think that was a possibility?
No, that's some straight up sexism in there.
Okay, I just want to make sure. It sounded like it, but
yes.
For all I know, like I said, I don't know the lifestyle.
Yes, no, that's in there, and also because I wore heels in the pit. I wanted to look nice. I was going to be going out after a show, so I was dressed and ready to go. And also, I'm short, so I needed the extra height.
Sure. How did you get to the point where you were at least allowed, if not welcome, to shoot in the pit at a concert?
What I did was I used to work at a photo agency.
Oh, okay.
And I was a researcher and editor there. And finally, I went back to them and I said, listen, you don't have anybody shooting music for you. I love doing this. Let me use your name to start getting into shows. I'll let you sell my photos.
Very industrious.
Yeah, so that
did it work out for you? Obviously got you in the door, but did it work out financially for you? Or?
Yes, because then I also, I eventually found another agency that helped out even more, and I started shooting for Spin and NME and Rolling Stone and everybody else. They just saw my work. And I had a couple of different guitar companies who came to me. I was shooting artists for them, so
very cool.
Just went from there. It was all very DIY.
Yeah, and that's the cool story, and that's what I think is great about what you have managed to be able to do, is that you obviously started from scratch. You obviously started from the same place I did, and to even think about taking the path that you took, I don't even know what the hell I'd be talking about, much less how to do it.
I took I was a very backdoor person as well. Uh-huh. One of my favorite photos that I ever got was when I was shooting Billy Joel at the last show at Shea, and I got him on stage with Paul McCartney.
Oh, wow.
Now that I had put in a request with this publicist, and she had texted me back like, yeah, you're good to go. You're on the list. Now, something inside of me said, I know most likely she didn't put my name on there. So I just put her name in my phone next to her number. And when I showed up and they're like, oh, you're not on the list, of course. Uh-huh. I'm like, no, look at this. I'm good. They're like, okay. So they let me in. On the way in, I'm saying, look, I'm a really big Billy Joel fan. Yes, I'm proud of that. I love him.
Yeah, I still am.
He's amazing. And the girl, I wanted to stay for the show. Oh, we work for Clear Channel, and even we can't get a ticket, yada, yada, yada. Give me a break.
Yeah.
And, of course, going in, I'm seeing all my security guards that I've known for years.
Sure.
Because I used to volunteer for Lifebeat back in the day, which was the music industry fights AIDS. So I would go and sit in different venues, hand out all this information to protect yourself.
You've made connections, and that's half the battle right there.
So I see all my security guards, and they're like, listen, just hang here. And I'm like, no, they're going to kick me out after the third song. I was like, wait a second. Hold on to my camera bag. So after the third song, they bounce all of us out, and I'm walking out. And as we're halfway out, it's like, oh my God, I forgot my camera bag.
Nice.
And the girl's looking all irritated, like, all right, fine, I'll walk you back. And as we're walking back, somebody called her name. I don't know who it was. I'm thinking it was my guardian angel. She's like, I'll be right back. Wait here for me. I'm like, yeah, sure. And I just hightail it, and I get to my security guards down front. They're like, just give us a song and a half. They plop me front row center.
Nice.
And they're like, listen, do not take your camera out. We're going to keep it under the stage. They're like, do not shoot anything. Somebody else is coming. His flight lands at 11. You do not want to get kicked out before that. And I'm like, meanwhile, here comes, Roger Daltrey, Steven Tyler, Tony Bennett. I'm like, you guys are killing me. They're like, trust us. You do not want to get kicked out. And I'm looking around the stadium, and I see all these signs. And one of them says, Paul is all. And, something else referencing the Beatles. I'm like, no, it couldn't be.
Oh, wow.
And all of a sudden, I had... Larry Busaka and Kevin Mazur from Wire Image, like huge agencies, come out, and they're standing beside me, and I'm like, yeah, bitches, I'm here too. And I pulled out my camera, sit up on a chair, and I got him with Paul McCartney, which was amazing. And I'm actually in the video for the song Let It Be in that footage, where you could see me right around the 5-minute mark, I think, with a grin just from ear to ear.
I'll bet, yeah.
And
that's so cool.
That was just one of the most amazing, I don't know, that's one of my favorite shots, of capturing it and being that diehard and doing whatever you can to get that shot that you want.
Yeah. Did you do anything professionally with that picture, or was that just for your own personal achievements?
It went out to my agency later on. I know I didn't put it out before then. I think I did have it printed somewhere, but I think it was in a European market.
Okay.
And it's up on my website for anybody who wants to see it.
It's a very, very rare, exclusive photo.
I did give a print to Guy Fieri, who loved it.
Oh.
He was at the concert that night.
And how did what connection allowed you to do that, or
I
worked
on one of his shows on the Food Network. That's my other world, my audience world.
Yeah, so you do so much and have made connections with so many people. And you've done portraiture, and you've done a lot of intimate stuff with people. But how well are you getting to know anybody at that rate?
It depends. It's really funny because the TV work that I do, I've done a lot of production work and audience casting work and coordination. So I've been supremely lucky with some of the shows I've worked on. I mean, I did Chappelle's show back in the day, and he's one of my favorite people. Really amazing. We got to go to one of his Radio City shows and hang out with him afterwards.
Oh, wow.
And he's just one of the most awesome and genuine people you will ever know.
Wow.
I will never have any bad words to say about him because I love him and he's one of my favorites. We used to do Live by Request and the performances we saw on that. We've done Totally Biased. I now work on Last Week Tonight with John Oliver.
Right.
And we do a lot of the Comedy Central half hours. So in that world, I've gotten to see so many of the young comedians and see how their careers have blossomed and established those relationships with them. And also, when they do see my other work that I've done with musicians, there's trust, a very trusting relationship that I set up. I'm not going to make you look bad.
No, of
I know
course,
I get super pissed. I'm like, I've taken so many great photos of people. Why can't anybody get me and I don't have a double chin in that photo? I mean, come on now, show some love. It's very frustrating, but they know I would never put a bad photo of somebody out there, and I'm not just, as I call a fantographer and a fan with my camera who's just psyched to be near somebody famous. Like, I want to make them look as good as they can and capture that moment that maybe not everybody else is going to see.
Have you got a specific example of where somebody has seen your work that you didn't expect would ever see it and came to you?
I'm trying to think of who. There have been a couple of people I know when my name gets referred, or like, oh, wow, I didn't know you did this. And it was funny when I shot John Oliver a couple of years ago on one of his specials. I was doing behind the scenes and different candid shots of them. And I took him and his one of his comedy partners, Andy, out to do a quick shoot with them. And when I shoot, I'm very, all right, stand over there, do this. No, don't do that. That looks lame. I'm very quick and I give direction. I know what I like and what I want. And his manager had come to me later on. I guess John had said to me, he's like, she got good stuff of this, didn't she? So little things like that always feel good. Or, some of the musicians that I've worked with, what will happen is I'll get sent to go shoot them, and I'll have maybe 15 minutes with them to capture something, and I'll take them for a walk around the block, and I do something similar, and they'll come back and just say, wow, they're like, these photos that you got, we love them even more than the press shots that we had. And my favorite thing is getting the record label people coming to me, oh, we love your photos, we want to use them. I'm like, okay, here's what it'll cost, but that's more than what we paid for a real photo shoot. I'm like, I'm sorry if you overpaid for shitty photography.
Yeah, really. Yeah, I mean,
this is what it is.
Is that the hardest thing for you, putting a price on the work? Because I mean, I'm lucky enough to be in a union that sort of establishes at least a floor for how much I can get paid for something. But there's nothing like that for you. Is that the hardest part? Or
it's extremely hard, especially because in the digital world and with the larger agencies with subscription pricing, as an independent artist, I can't compete against that.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first started shooting, even for the smallest photo, I was getting over $200. And, you know, I'd be getting checks for a couple thousand a month. And now there are times when I get checks for $2.
Oh, that's rough.
Yes.
It's something that affects all of us because, I mean, to be like completely objective about it, nobody predicted the digital age and how it would affect everything. Because even, let's say, back when we were in college, when everything went from albums to CDs, it just meant the media had changed, or the medium had changed. So it was still a physical thing that you had to buy in a store to be able to play your favorite songs. But now there's nothing that you can hold in your hand to identify what you've purchased. Mm-hmm. And I think the value in that has subconsciously told people, well, it's not worth as much.
And yet there will be people like you're downloading and you're still playing the music, so you're using it. And I mean, I'm guilty when it first happened. I was downloading everything. But now I'm like, you know what? I know what it feels like to have your work taken and not paid for. If I really love something, I will pay for it, and I will do that gladly and contribute to the artist. I mean, I paid to download Mad Men back in the day because I believed in that show. I love that show.
That's
I can't
a great
believe
show.
It's gone.
I mean, that show is worth twice as much, at least, of what you paid for it. So,
Matthew Weiner, I would love to work with you.
There you go. Well, let's put it out in the universe, Matthew Weiner.
Yes.
The gauntlet has been thrown.
Do a show with me on a photographer and all of her crazy stories in New York City nightlife and after hours. I've got tons of them for you.
Have you thought about compiling them? Because I mean, we're going to get a small slice of the real good stuff. I hope. I'm going to try to pull that out of you before we're done here. But your experience is probably the most valuable thing that you have about you. Is that nobody can fake what you've done.
Yeah, no, there are stories out there. Some of them I love, and my friends are like, oh, I was retelling your crazy story there. I'm going to say that. There are a couple gems.
Yeah.
I'm way too sober to discuss any of them. But it's, you know, there were times in New York was a little bit freer. I feel everything is so safe now. All right, you walk into a bar or a club and, okay, great, they're playing the Velvet Underground, they're playing the Ramones, they're playing something cool. Which, yeah, it was great. I grew up on that, but it's how many years later do you guys not have the balls to play anything new?
Yeah.
Take a risk and see, all right, so if, you know, Tom, Dick, and Harry don't like it, well, you know what, then this isn't the bar for them. Play it for the people who do want to hear something new, who want to hear something different.
So that's an interesting perspective because, you know, you mentioned it's so safe now. And from my perspective, I'm thinking, oh, yeah, the city is safer to walk around. You're far less likely to get mugged than you were back in 1987, back when muggings were happening on every block every 10 minutes.
If you looked like a tourist and didn't know what you were doing.
Or if you weren't. I mean, the fact of the matter is it was a dangerous city at one point. I mean, the reputation is there for a reason. But you're not just talking about safety from a physical standpoint. You're talking about safety from an aesthetic standpoint.
Oh, totally.
Which is very interesting to think about. Because we live in this world where, as an artist, whatever you're doing, whatever I'm doing, we're not just competing with the other artists out there. We're competing with the history of everything that's ever been done because everything is immediately accessible. So, I mean, if you want to play the Velvet Underground, it'll make you seem edgy, but it's not like anybody couldn't just play the Velvet Underground.
It's our Light FM now.
It's kind of strange, yeah.
It's sad to say that, I mean, but I'm so tired. Everybody's wearing these uniforms. I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you, but you guys are. It's pre-made uniforms. This has already been established as a cool look or something that's already been done and accepted.
What are you saying about my scarf?
Yes. Not much.
Yeah, right.
But it's frustrating. It's have the courage to go out there. And I tried to tell this with some of the younger musicians too when I was shooting. I would be the person saying, all right, you need better lighting on stage. Stop with the red backlighting. You're young, you're adorable, you look great. I want to see your face because I'm going to have to use a flash, and then I'm not going to Photoshop your zip because I'm annoyed that I had to do that. When you're 50 and bloated, yes, go with that and let everybody remember what you used to look like.
Everybody think you're charactered, yeah.
But it's just even the musicians now. Look at the people who make the most out of life. They were the ones who stood out and did something different.
Who's a good example of somebody you really admire for that reason?
I mean, Radiohead, David Bowie, Prince. Who else was different? I mean, PJ Harvey. Oh my God, I love her. Bjork. She was just from another level. Planet, totally. But I love her. She's amazing.
What do you think it'll take for somebody like that to have a home doing the different anymore? I mean, are there places in the city? I know from a comedic standpoint, so much is going on in Long Island City and in Brooklyn and in Queens and other areas of Queens that's become the alt scene. And it's a lot because it's 2 blocks from where these people are living these days because nobody can afford to live in Manhattan. From a music standpoint, where are things happening anymore?
I don't know. I feel, especially for female artists, what's really infuriating is that I see some of these younger artists out there. Take Miley Cyrus. Yeah. She can sing. Beautiful girl. I want her to go out and use that power for something else instead of just putting...
if someone could see the gesture.
If you could see the gesture, you guys would totally get it. But then again, I mean, she's making bank now, and I really can't fault her for what she's doing, but it's sad that in today's world, I mean, look at how much money these other reality TV stars are making, and for what? Putting up nude photos of themselves at Newburgh. You have girls who are in their teens getting so much plastic surgery done on them, and why?
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm sorry, you could look great and amazing, but I don't think it counts if it's fake. If you weren't born that way, then no.
Yeah.
And what happened to women having self-worth and going out there and standing up for themselves? Yes, you can own yourself, own your sexuality, but just don't hand it out to them for free. Fuck it, make them earn it and deserve it.
I used to say that all the time. I said, if women, and I don't, I'm really towing the line here because I know this could sound misogynist and sexist, and it's the opposite. Yeah, please do, because I don't want it to be. But I always felt like if, and this is a college thought I had in my head, but if women everywhere just made a pact with one another to never have sex with a guy who wears his hat like off to the side, his baseball hat with a flat brim. You know how quickly guys would stop wearing their baseball hats like with that stupid flat brim off to the side?
I hate that
like
brim.
The Justin Bieber look. Next day, you'll never see it again.
No, and honestly, stop. They have no idea. I feel like the younger girls today, you have so much power. Do you know what you can do with it? And especially because we're just getting stomped on all over the place. We are on the verge of having our first female president. And look at all of the blatant sexism that women are dealing with in the year 2015. It's disgusting. And I mean, we have attractive newscasters. No, I can't even call them newscasters because they're doing anything but casting news. No,
I tend to agree with you on that one for sure.
And it's just depressing when you just have somebody who's supposedly running for president making a bad period joke. It's painful.
It's almost become like discourse has almost become shtick.
Yeah.
And it's like if you can do a tight 5 in front of a brick wall, that's your best bet to being elected these days. It's not right. It's not. But we have dumbed down society so much that the idea of a long conversation becomes uncomfortable for so many people.
Well, it's that, and where are artists who are actually saying anything about it? I mean, I feel like ever since the Dixie Chicks got shut down, nobody's questioned or said anything.
Yeah. Do you think? Well, it's interesting because, and this may be tied into what has shifted your career. It almost seems as though while musicians used to be the brave ones, the John Lennons and Bono and going back even further, people
Dylan
like Jimi Hendrix and Dylan Joan Baez. We could spend a week, but nowadays, what kind of statement is being made by the young stars of today in music? But comedy has almost taken up the charge in terms of speaking out against the lack of common sense, and I believe that comedians have taken on a greater importance. I mean, you look at The Daily Show or Colbert.
Absolutely. But that's why I have to say I'm supremely lucky for my quote-unquote day job.
Your day job, that's right.
Because I have been lucky and privileged enough to work on some of the most amazing shows that have been on the more political side and the intellectual and cerebral side. And I've loved it, and it's opened up so many new worlds to me and so many new dialogues as well. And it's been amazing, and thank God that we have comedians who are out there who are bringing awareness to this. And I miss that, and I want to say to these younger musicians, come on, stop writing a commercial jingle and write something that has meaning. You're not writing about anything. Yeah, okay, you want to hit that girl, you want to get that pussy, you want to get that. All right, great, yeah. Can you talk about anything else?
Right.
And I'm sorry, most of the music out today, it just sounds like a bad whiskey dick.
You're right. I mean, it's 100% true. And I mean, as we get older, we're gonna not like the young music of today. But I think you'd respect it at the very least. You know, I think if you could at least respect what they're saying, what they're doing. But there are so many examples of musicians who you just want to laugh at, and that's not. Is that what you want? Is that what people want out of life? Is to be, you know, it's funny. Comedians want to be taken seriously for the points they're making now, and musicians, it's almost like they're looking to be laughed at.
They just want to make money.
Well, that too.
Everything is just money, and that's really sad. I watch a lot of documentaries, and the one thing that almost every artist says in that is that if you chase the money, you're never going to get anywhere. But if you do it for the love of it, then that's where you're going to be the wealthiest and make the most out of it.
And that's always been true too. You know, you look through history, and it's not. I don't think Thomas Edison. Well, maybe he's a bad example, but I don't think Thomas Edison necessarily was assuming he was going to make a lot of money. He was interested in poking holes at things and seeing what that poke did to it, and eventually he came up with some pretty good ideas. Or Nikola Tesla or Marconi or people like that. The love of discovery and love of conversation and things like that. That's where people exchange true ideas. And I think we have lost that in a lot of our artists because music has been shut down from cogent thought anymore.
Well, you had businessmen take over the music industry.
Did you see that firsthand?
Oh, I did. You saw. I worked at a record label very briefly after college. And because I thought, I want to get into the music industry. And I think it was Rosie Perez had the best quote. She's like, yeah, the music industry, they don't stab you in the back. They will stab you in the heart and keep eye contact with you the entire time.
Sad but true.
I realized if I love music, then don't work in the music industry. So when I started doing my photography, I found a way to still be a part of it, but somewhat outside of it.
And you almost exercise a sense of power, and it's not all that dissimilar to, I guess, my decision to start doing this, is that you were able to use that platform to bring light to people who you thought were worth taking pictures of. And I selected people on this because I think it's a good idea to give some attention to people who maybe don't get a lot of press or something like that. Do you feel that there's a power in that selection process?
Oh, sure. It's funny how people are when they first, and I've seen this with some of the celebrities I've come across, either been at shows or events that I've been shooting. And some of them first, when they'll see you with a camera, they get very apprehensive. And then there will be times where I'm not shooting them, and then they keep looking over their shoulder and wondering, like, why is she not taking pictures of me? Why is this not happening? I had an instance with one celeb who is everybody loved taking pictures of this one small person. And I was at a party with them at the Jane Hotel. It was an after party for this one band who was playing. And I had my camera out around my neck, and she came and stood as far away as you are, 2 feet, not even. And I didn't take her picture. I was just hanging out there. And after a couple of minutes of her standing next to me silently, I leaned over and I was like, "Excuse me, sweetie, are you wanting me to take your picture tonight?" Like, oh my God. She's like, "Thank you for asking." Most people, they just come up and snap and don't even ask. It's so nice. And the band manager came running up. She's not posing for any picture. "No, she asked me. That's really sweet. Yeah, I'm not having a good look tonight. I really appreciate it if you didn't take a picture." I'm like, "Yeah, no problem."
I wish I could tell from that voice who this is. Yeah. You're not going to tell me, but it's okay.
And it was really funny. And then we had a quick little chat, talked about the show, and then, my friend got me my drink and I walked away, had a good night. And I'm thinking, you know what? Okay, you were expecting photographers to just come and take your picture.
Yeah.
And you come and stand next to a photographer. And then when I have the courtesy to ask if you'd like your photo to be taken, you say no.
You think she made the wrong move?
Not the wrong move. It was more of a psychological thing.
Oh, you mean she could have taken the power back by saying no?
That's what I kind of think she did. I'm like, you were expecting me to do this, and then I actually asked you, and I was like, okay. I don't care enough about it. And of course, the next day, everyone's like, "Oh my God, did you get that shot?" I was like, "No, I just hung out with her."
Oh, that's hilarious.
I mean, I've had that exchange where so many people in my agency, especially, would get pissed at me. I was like, "Oh, I was having drinks with so and so and throwing back with them," and they were like, "Well, did you get the shot?" I was like, "No, it wasn't that." That's where I could never be a paparazzi or that kind of person.
Yeah.
I'd rather establish a relationship with people and have a trust with them. So maybe the next time I see them or anything like that, then they already know that they're going to be comfortable and no, I'm not just going to take a shot and send it out all over the place.
And no matter how it looks or
that's
how they look.
That's probably why I'm still down in the East Village, though, and not on Central Park.
Isn't that kind of funny? You know,
but that's just me. That's how I look at it.
But it's a shame because the amount of work and the care you put into it to not be gross about it should be rewarded. It should be something that we put more value in because, and you'd think that the celebrities themselves would put more value in it and somehow figure out.
You would think.
But everybody, and I can't necessarily blame because everybody has the bottom line to think about, and we're all human. We're all just trying to get to the end of the day and go to sleep and wake up in the morning. But it's still kind of a shame that your kindness as a photographer gets devalued over somebody who takes a picture of somebody without their makeup looking horrible.
Yeah, it does. It does sometimes, but then I'll have wonderful interactions with people. I mean, I shot Kim Gordon, my first photo in Rolling Stone. Actually, that photo
that's the one right there. Yeah.
And that night was one of the most. Is that all of
Sonic Youth, or is that?
That shot. I mean, I did shoot the whole band that night, but that's a shot of Kim and Thurston.
Okay.
At one of the last shows at CB's.
Oh wow.
And that same night, I had actually shot. I killed two birds with one stone that night. I shot Radiohead for the first time in my career.
Wow.
Which was amazing at MSG Theater.
Oh.
And then I went straight from that show down to CB's to photograph Sonic Youth. And that ended up in Rolling Stone, so that was my first Rolling Stone photo.
Sweet.
And then photos from that show with Radiohead, who I shot for, and that's like my dream band. I love them. They're just my favorite. That ended up getting into Rolling Stone too at a later date, but was in another magazine that I got hired to shoot that for. But shooting those two things was amazing. And so I shot the Sonic Youth show. And then I'm trying to think of how long after Sonic Youth was at Coachella, and I was shooting Coachella, and I got to see Kim Gordon and Thurston after. And I was shooting them there, and I said, you know, you guys were my first photo in Rolling Stone. And Kim Gordon just gave me a high five. She's like, all right, girl, that's fucking awesome.
Nice.
And I'm like, oh, you are.
See, there's a thing where people say, don't meet your heroes. And you have exposure to them in ways that a lot of people don't. Where do you fall on that line? Do you think it's
tough because there have been times I've met people and like Kim Gordon, please, it couldn't have been more perfect.
Sure.
Iggy Pop was another one, so nice, so amazing, you know, and like Dave Chappelle, another fantastic. Right. However, there have been other people who I have loved, and then I have met them, and then I don't want to have anything to do with them ever again, and that does suck. It sucks. You know, and there are some people who I don't want to meet because I just have too much invested in their music.
That's
and
interesting.
I'm like, I can't go there.
If it was a matter of getting paid a lot of money to take that picture of that particular artist versus risking meeting your idol, which would you do?
Oh, I would take the money and pray to God if they were really nice. I'm not going to ruin it.
What do you think?
I'm not an idiot.
Yeah. Where do you think everything's going? Do you think there will be the same sort of environment for you to be taking these pictures? Because the digital age, and you mentioned like fantographers, I think you said, which is a great term. Do you think that will take over too much, or do you think there's still going to always be? But do you think there's always still going to be? I've
just transitioned. I'm going, you know, I loved it. I shot live music for over 15 years, and I had a great time, but it's just not my world now. If I really love a band and I really want to do something, I'll find a way to do it. But I'd rather be doing their portraits. I'd rather be spending time with them, be in a more controlled environment, even if it is for a half hour, you know, 15 minutes or a half hour. I'd rather be doing that.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard. I went to go see Neil Young. A friend treated me to a ticket to go see him out at Jones Beach not that long ago. And everyone's like, oh, it's cranky old man who's going to be singing about Monsanto. And, he did that. He did. There were a lot of Monsanto songs, but at least he's saying something.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. Like, I'd look at some of these younger artists. I'm like, you have this whole stage. Use your voice for something. Stop selling me something. And instead, I would love it if they would just have something to say, something real to say. That's a real commentary. I mean, there is so much to sing and write about in today's world.
Yeah.
Take a pick at any of these, and especially some of the younger female artists. Or I would love to see male artists singing about the plight of women and the rights that are being threatened in today's world. And for what? It makes no sense. Or look at the LGBT fight. Why aren't more people saying anything about that? Or all the racial strife that we have. We could all come together. I mean, if anything, there's more of a class war. And that's been going on since the beginning of time.
Sure.
Unified together, there's more of us than there is of them. Talk about it. I mean, I know it's everybody. I feel they all want to be part of this 1%. And they keep thinking, oh, I'm going to go and be against taxes because what if one day I win the lotto and I'm worth $350 million?
Right.
Instead of saying, you know what? No, I want to fight so all of the rest of us down here have a chance to enjoy a good life. Yeah. Not even a great, super rich life, just a good life. Instead of fighting against each other, and they're pitting us all against each other when we should be coming together. I'm going to get off my soapbox now.
Well, at least you used this venue you had to because nobody can complain that you, as a podcast guest, didn't use your pedestal to put something good out there. Hopefully so good for you.
I thank you.
How do people find your work? How do people stay in touch with you? How do people follow you online?
So you can see examples of my work at jenmailer.com. That's JenMailer. I sound like Norman Mailer without the I, different notoriety. And you can follow me on Instagram at Jen Mailer.
Very cool. And you're not on Twitter?
I am on Twitter, but if I actually said what I really thought, I would be in a lot more trouble. So I just took my Instagram feed so you can see my picture. Everyone's like, Mailer, why aren't you on there? You have the perfect witty remarks. I was like, no, I don't want it used against me 20 years from now.
Well, you get, how many characters on Twitter? Jeez, what's the character count?
140?
140. Or every time you post a picture, it's 1,000 words. So
well, there you go. I think I'm sharing more wealth on that with my photos.
Well, keep sharing because it's good stuff.
So I thank you, sir.
Thanks for doing this.
I'm glad you braved the East Village in Alphabet City.
Jen Mailer, super cool, rock and roll, the epitome of that New York City vibe. That, as she explained, is sort of falling by the wayside, but still being maintained by people like her who are still looking for those nooks and crannies of New York City that are out there. They're just fewer and farther between. But when you're a photojournalist and you're capturing life as you see it, things become immortal. And that's awesome. If you want to keep in touch with Jen, you want to find out what she's doing, go to her website, jenmailer.com. There will be a link on the website in the show notes for this episode to her website where she's got some phenomenal work. You should check that out. I also have a couple sample shots on the website as well as that YouTube video she talked about where she had a front row seat for Billy Joel and Paul McCartney at the last concert at Shea, which is so cool. So do check that out, her website, as well as her Twitter. Even though she says she doesn't tweet a lot, she does have some tweets up there. You can follow her there or on Instagram at Jen Mailer. And again, those links will be in the show notes for this episode. And I'm hoping to have her back because she and I had such a cool conversation afterward where I got to hear some of the stories she couldn't share on a podcast for very good reason. But I'm hoping someday when she is super big and famous and can say, to heck with you, world, we'll get to share those stories on this podcast someday because, man, it's some cool stuff. Thanks, Jen, for sharing that with me, both on the microphone and off, and I look forward to sharing in your work as we move forward. All right, that about does it for another edition of Bring Your Own Lunch. Glad you can join us. Thank you. Also, thank you, Banooba.net, BANOOBA.net. That's where you can find the band that's playing the music you're listening to right now. Go there, buy their music, download their music, go see them live. They are awesome. Support them the way they support Bring Your Own Lunch. And don't forget to go to our website, bringyourownlunch.com, find out all the information about the guests on this program, past, present, and presumably future. And send me a personal email, dave@bringyourownlunch.com. You can like us on facebook.com/bringyourownlunch. You can follow us on Twitter at BYOL Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at Bring Your Own Lunch. And if you really want to support us, you really want to help us out, go to iTunes or Stitcher, rate, review, subscribe, let the world know what we're doing that way, or just pass along to a friend and say, hey, this is a cool podcast featuring cool guests. You should check it out. And that would mean a lot to me. And if you're going to do that via social media, just hashtag BYOL, because I like to keep things organized. Stay tuned for Jimmy Jack's Cowpunch Hour, followed by Mansoor and the Fish. And until next week, when I have another great guest lined up, this is Dave. I'll see you next week. It's only rock and roll, but I like it.
Check out Amos Poe's Alphabet Cité. I met him once and actually quoted that. I was like, what's up, Alphabet Cité? Made a new friend.
That's my first Easter egg.